right now, the regulators and the investigators that are going through this are trying to really figure out why no one caught this earlier. I mean, this is something that the regulators, at least so far, have said looks like it goes back to early 2010. And what we're talking about here is a situation quite similar to MF Global, it seems, where customer money went missing. They do periodic audits, the regulators of these firms like Peregrine, making sure that customer money is there. Now, what people are looking at in the last day or so is a series of communications that supposedly have been taking place between the auditors, the National Futures Association, and one of the banks that Peregrine used to hold customer money. Now, there's some people saying that there were communications from the bank that showed a low balance, about $10 or $5 million early in the year, that quickly was followed up by a fax communication showing that the balance was much higher than where Peregrine said it was. And the suspicion, at least in the last couple of days, is that perhaps Mr. Wassendorf, Sr., who was the chief executive founder of the firm, was finding some way to supply false bank documents to the auditors.
The bank we're talking about here is U.S. Bank, and it seems like the issue is there are some documents going back and forth that may have been fraudulent, that had the name of a U.S. Bank employee, and we're not really sure what the role is. If there was someone who is complicit at U.S. Bank in this whole kind of fraud or scandal or whatever you want to call it, or if it was, just someone, basically using his name without his permission. Is that right?
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, the regulators, as we understand it right now, are trying to go through the paper trail, if you will, the audit processes that had been going on with Peregrine. And it's not clear, as you said, whether or not this name of a bank employee that was used, whether or not that employee, may have known about this. The supposition that you can draw from looking at the court documents that were filed Tuesday by the CFTC, the federal regulator, suggest that Mr. Wassendorf was falsifying bank documents. That would suggest perhaps he was forging the name. But this is the sort of thing that, when you have something going on for so long, that you just have to turn over all of these stones and make sure that you're not missing anything else, because clearly something was missed here for quite a while.
Right, so 2 years they think that this was happening, and there has been, it seems, a huge backlash among traders who are saying 2 scandals in our industry in less than a year. I mean, what are the regulators doing? It seems like they're kind of asleep on the job there.
Well, that's right. I mean, you had MF Global, who's a much larger firm, both in terms of its business and in terms of the customers and the money that it held. But at the root of it, it seems almost the same issue, that here you had a firm that was supposed to be holding customer money, which is sacrosanct, as they say, in the futures business, and the money was not there when the bankruptcy came. It's the same situation here. Now, you've got a lot of people that are extra angry about this because MF Global threw up a big flag to this sort of thing happening. The CFTC, the federal regulator, did what they said was an extensive spot check earlier in the year. In January, they announced results, and it showed, and this included PFG, Peregrine, that all the customer assets were accounted for. Now you're going to have, I promise you, people saying that they didn't go far enough here. Were they actually going back to the banks and confirming all the balances that these firms said that they had? And there already have been renewed calls for some sort of insurance fund to protect customer money, because here you've had, in less than a year, 2 instances where people, in some cases, the same firms used MF Global and PFG and have been burned twice. And they say, where's the protection here? You have the CME, the Chicago Futures Exchange operator. They put out this week that their fund to back the accounts of farmers and ranchers that use the markets to hedge, that's going to be open. And, perhaps that'll offset some of people's losses here. But there's already calls for something more broad-based in case, this happens again.